What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Witty Sports Talk for another video today. And today it's NFL season predictions for each division, AFC and NFC, going through all four divisions. Just a few days away from kickoff. I think when this gets uploaded, it might be like the day before kickoff. So we'll see, contract situations still going down. Trent Williams signing pretty soon with the 49ers. Jamar Chase still holding out with the Bengals. Hassan Reddick still holding out with the Jets. So a lot can change in the coming weeks, obviously. But going into week one, before the season kicks off, here's my predictions for each individual division. All right, we're going to start off in the AFC South. My team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, playing there in that division. Won it 2 years ago, we did. Lost it on the last game last year after a great start and then sucking down the end of the year. So that was really tough for me as a Jags fan. Texans on the come up with C.J. Stroud. The Colts, they were 9-8 last year with Gardner Minshew. Shout out, old Jags GOAT. Now starting in Las Vegas, actually, so good for him. But Richardson, now the quarterback there for the Colts. So those three teams are kind of like the lead pack, and then the Titans just kind of stink, to be honest, or at least I expect them to be really bad. I'm not actually sure who their starting quarterback is going to be. And so we'll kind of just see what happens with the Titans' new head coach and everything like that. But the three teams kind of competing for that division, the Jaguars, Texans, and Colts. And I think this year I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to go with the Jaguars to bounce back. I do think the Texans had such a great year last year. That's kind of like the Jags from 2 years ago, where it's just, they were really good and then they took a step back, or they at least didn't improve. And I think the Texans might be in the same situation, even though they added some key playmakers. Stephon Diggs at wide receiver now, another option for C.J. Stroud to throw the ball to. But I think just everything went their way last year. I think it was Tank Dell who got injured near the end of the season. But just the game playing for C.J. Stroud wasn't there because obviously he was a rookie. And then just as the new coach came in, so people just weren't really ready, I don't think, for the Texans. This year, I think the game playing will be better, kind of like how the Jaguars were from the season before. And then late last season, teams kind of figured out how to game plan, and Press Taylor, our offensive coordinator, is just terrible, which will probably carry over into this new season. But I'm just hoping for a bounce-back year. Hopefully Trevor can stay healthy because he was injured out of the stretch last year. Get the running game back going with Trevor Etienne. So we'll see Travis Etienne. We'll see what goes on, with the offense on the Jags side of the ball. See if the Texans can keep their steady play up. I do think they just take a step back. And then the Colts are kind of an outlier. They could go, I feel like 9-8 kind of, their record was better than what they were last year. So if Anthony Richardson can play really well, then they might be able to, win 10 games, 11 games. But I just don't think he will. I don't think he's as good as a quarterback as some of the people in the media think he is, where he might be a great fantasy quarterback because he can run and throw. They kind of expect him to be like Cam Newton or something like that. I don't think he is. I think maybe 9-8 again for the Colts, but I don't think that wins a division, maybe 8-9. But I do think it's a battle between the Jags and the Texans. One of those teams is going to win 11 games, and I think that'll win the division. Moving over to the AFC North now, one of the toughest divisions in football, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. And I think the Ravens pull it out this year partially because Jamar Chase is holding out. For the Bengals, I have really high expectations for them this year. Joe Burrow coming back from injury, I think that helps them a ton. If he can stay healthy, I think they have a really good shot like they do every year of going really far in the playoffs. But if Jamar Chase sits out these first couple weeks, I think that might be the difference between the Ravens and the Bengals, splitting that division. The Browns are kind of a toss-up with Deshaun Watson. We never know how he's going to play. That running game without Nick Chubb is interesting. Their defense is always really good. And same with the fourth team, the Steelers. Defense really good. They just have, I don't think, really any quarterback play. Obviously, just named Justin Fields, the backup to Russell Wilson there in Pittsburgh. So we'll see how Russell Wilson does. He's going to cook, but I think he's already cooked, to be honest. I think his time has passed. He probably needs to slowly just, move along from football. I think his time has come and go. I think the Steelers kind of are an okay team. We'll see if they can win 9 games again, see if Tomlin can keep his record of however many years it is, 15 in a row, something like that. without a losing season. See if they can go 8-1 like they did the other year. But I just don't think the Steelers have the talent. The Browns, I think, are good, but not great. And I think Jamar Chase is the reason the Bengals come in second, although they still make the playoffs because they have a really good team, and Joe Burrow's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and that Ravens team, which perform really well every single regular season, I think get the job done in the North. Moving on to the AFC East, an interesting division here. Miami, the Bills, the Jets, and the Pats. And that's actually how I have the division going. Miami with Mike McDaniel as the head coach, Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the track team that they have down there. I do think they take the division. I went back and forth between them and the Bills, but without, Gabe Davis is gone, Diggs is gone, the two main wide receivers kind of for Josh Allen, and I just don't know who he's really going to throw the ball to. I don't know his playmakers up there. I'm sure Bills fans do. I just don't have them written down in front of me, and off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone who's that great. Kincaid, I think, is still their tight end. He's a good tight end. Their offensive line is still really good. The defense is decent, and obviously the weather helps them a lot, later on in the season. We'll see, how Josh Allen can do now that Stephon Diggs is out of there. But, so I got Miami winning it. The Bills, I think, still come in second because I think the Jets are kind of like the Bucs from when Tom Brady went to the Bucs. They struggled the first part of the season. Aaron Rodgers still got to get in the swing of things. They have a kind of a tough start to the schedule. Obviously, the 49ers, Monday Night Football. So that's probably going to be an L. But I think the Jets kind of get it going near the end of the season and I think they make the playoffs, maybe like a 7 seed in the playoffs. They can make some noise. And then obviously the Patriots are just probably the worst team in the league, probably number 1 overall pick. So that's the AFC East. Miami, Bills, Jets, and then the Pats at like 2 and whatever that would be, 15. Wrap it up. Into the AFC West, an interesting division in my opinion, with the Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs out there in the West. And that's just a division that's interesting because obviously the Chiefs are the top team. They have won the past 2 Super Bowls, going for the three-peat. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, some of the best players in the NFL, and that team, just has been the standard in the NFL for the past couple of seasons. They have a good shot at three-peating. Patrick Mahomes might win the MVP this year just because he's bound to win it at some point. And, they've kind of made some adjustments. They have Xavier Worthy now, who they drafted at Texas. I think that'll be a good rookie wide receiver for them. But then the Chargers, also, Ladd McConkey, he might be their number 1 wide receiver, which is maybe a good thing but bad thing. Good, that's the fact that he's going to be a good rookie, but bad in the fact that they really don't have any other talent on the outside, which is why I do have the Chiefs, winning the division, just because they have Patrick Mahomes and they're the best team, but also the Chargers, who I have finishing second. New coach, Jim Harbaugh, coming in there, I think that'll really help. And Justin Herbert, obviously a good quarterback, can sling it, but I just don't know who he's going to get the ball to. Kind of the same sense as Josh Allen, where a good quarterback, not really sure the weapons. And then the defense is going to be better with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. Also, just because the other teams in that division, the Broncos, who I think will finish third, and then the Raiders, who are really going to be not going to be good. Devontae Adams is going to be out of there sooner, by trade deadline. He'll be some. I don't know where he's going to be. If he's going to be in the Jets or wherever, but he's not going to be a Raider anymore. They don't have really a starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew, like I mentioned earlier, I'd say he's like a solid 33rd best quarterback in the league, is in the fact that he's maybe not a starter, but he's definitely the best backup. Him and honestly maybe like Mac Jones or the Jags might be the 2 best backups in the league. But yeah, I just don't know. We know where else the talent is on the Raiders. The Broncos, Bo Nix had a really good preseason. We'll see how he does. That's an exciting team to watch, just in the fact that, Sean Payton now has his own players, his own team. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback. The defense is going to be decent, I think. I assume, they'll get better from last year when they, gave up 70 to Miami, but then they progressively got a little bit better every single week. So I think they'll be okay. Just I think the Chargers are a little bit better because they have a ton of talent on defense, and you got to think that with a better coach and Jim Harbaugh, the team will play better. Just obviously not good enough for the Chiefs. Moving over to the NFC side of things now, we'll start it out in the South. Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, and the Panthers of North of Carolina. That's the order I have it there. The Dirty Birds of Atlanta, I think, are clear favorites to win the division. Kirk Cousins now, so starting quarterback, a ton of talent. I don't know who the GM is there, to be honest, but he's been killing it the past couple of years. Ton of talent all over the field, offense and defense. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. Is that his first name, Kyle Pitts? I feel like that's wrong. But anyway, I'm not going to edit that. I'm just going to hope his name is Kyle. But anyway, Pitts at the tight end spot, and London as the wide receiver, and then defense, plenty of playmakers from the defensive line, especially to the safeties and corners. So that team, I think, is just so much better than every other team in that NFC South or NFC South. The Bucs are decent. Baker Mayfield got paid. We'll see how he does this upcoming year. Obviously, they had a really strong year last year, won a playoff game at home, obviously after winning the division. So we'll see kind of, what carries over from last year to this year. But I think Atlanta just got a lot better. They actually have stable quarterback play now. So I think that kind of leads them to win the division. The Saints are decent. We'll see how Derek Carr does. The running game is okay with Alvin Kamara. The defense is projected to be really good. They didn't give up a point in the preseason until the final game. The starting defense, that is. So we'll see kind of if the defense can carry them. And then the Panthers are just not very good this year. We'll see how Bryce Young does, in his second year. Hopefully he can be a little bit better for the Panthers, but the team as a whole just isn't great. So Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, and Carolina, the order for the South. Moving over to the NFC North now, what a division this is. And it's really a toss-up between the Lions and the Packers. Detroit and Green Bay could go back and forth. But in the end, I went with Detroit. They could have and maybe should have been in the Super Bowl last year. I think they're a top team this year. They might make it to the Super Bowl this year. They're progressively getting better each and every year. Dan Campbell has that city fired up. Jared Goff, good quarterback. Amon-Ra St. Brown on the outside just got paid. Really good wide receiver. They have a decent enough running game and just all over the field. They have a couple top 10 picks on the offensive line. And I just think that team is bound, to make, again, another step forward this year. So I think Detroit gets it done in the North. Green Bay, Jordan Love, I think, is fit for a prime year. We'll see with the rest of that young team that he has, plenty of young offensive weapons. Matt LaFleur as the head coach. He's proved that he can coach without Aaron Rodgers, and obviously beating the Cowboys last year in the playoffs, and I think that'll be a really good team. That'll be a neck-and-neck race in the North. The Bears, I think, maybe come third. I'm not as high in the Vikings as everyone else is. Everyone's like, the Vikings, they have such great playmakers, blah, 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 blah. Who's playing quarterback? Who's throwing the ball? I don't see. I mean, it's Sam Darnold. I know who it is, but there's been no evidence that he can actually be good in the NFL. And that defense, we'll see about it. Justin Jefferson just got paid a huge amount of money, as he should. But yeah, if Sam Darnold can be good and they have other playmakers besides Justin Jefferson, then maybe they can, be third. Maybe they can get that last playoff spot. Because then that would make them a lot better than what I think they're going to be. But I don't really know. The Bears have everything set up perfect for Caleb Williams, and so we'll see how good he is. If he's a really good rookie, then I think the Bears can come third. I don't think they're making the playoffs or anything like that, but maybe an 8-9 season, which I think Bears fans would take. So so we'll go Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings for the North. Into the NFC East. This division, oh my goodness. I mean, you have two teams at the top and two teams at the bottom. But I think, I don't know how many people are going to watch this video, to be honest. But granted, someone who watches it will be a Cowboys fan. And I hope I hope you're smart and intelligent that you guys are not as good as last year. The Cowboys just aren't as good as last year. And they couldn't win the division last year, and they won't win it again this year. Philadelphia has to bounce back. If they don't bounce back in the first couple weeks, the coach is gone, Sirianni's gone, and then I think they bounce back. The team's too talented to not be good with Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, now Saquon Barkley coming from the Giants. I mean, the team is too talented to fail. So I think Philly wins the division. The Cowboys, who have not gotten better in any shape or form, they've almost gotten worse this offseason, just with who they've lost. They haven't really brought anybody in, and so I don't really know where they've gotten better. So I think Philly wins it. Cowboys come in second. You're not in the pits like Washington or the Giants. Washington, I do think, come third. I'm really high on Jaden Daniels as a quarterback, and the Giants stink. They're going to have the number 2 overall pick after the Patriots. So, when you let your best player leave and stay in the division and go down the street to the Giants, that's a pretty poor decision on the GM's part. Although he couldn't really do anything about it besides pay him, and he just didn't want to pay him. So I think Saquon Barkley really makes a difference for the Eagles, and I think maybe that powers them through. Yeah, so I'll go Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Washington, and then the New York Giants. And then over to the West, what used to be the best division in football. Now, I still think it's the second best division in football. Actually, I don't know. Maybe the AFC West now, if the Broncos get good. I don't know. Anyway, that's a different conversation. That just popped in my head. Anyway, the NFC West, I've got San Francisco, LA, Seattle, and then Arizona. Arizona might be the worst team, as in the fact that they might be the best 4 seed in any of the divisions, maybe the Vikings and then maybe the Steelers, I would say, kind of those 3 teams. But the Cardinals are not bad. Marvin Harrison Jr. wide receiver, I think, will be one of the best rookie wide receivers in the league. Kyler Murray, if he can stay healthy and run around and throw over the offensive line, then they can win some games for sure. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, see how he does this season. After getting paid, he kind of took a step sideways, half step back last year, and I just don't really know what playmakers they have up there. So we'll see how they do, obviously, besides DK Metcalf, but just the rest of the team as a whole isn't as good as the Rams or the 49ers. San Francisco, one of the best teams in the league. I have them winning the division. The Rams are a sneaky team. I love the Rams this year. Matthew Stafford, if you've watched any of my college ball videos or anything else, I'm a Georgia fan. I graduated from Georgia, so Matthew Stafford is, he's my guy from way back. And I do think the Rams are sneaky this year. They made the playoffs last year, I think, and came close to winning a game. Maybe they did win a game. But they're good. Cooper Kupp, bounce back. Puka Nacua, he's, good. They have a decent enough running game. Sean McVay is one of the best head coaches in the league. Rams, sneaky team once they make it into the playoffs. But the 49ers are, they're the second best team in the league behind the Chiefs. Brock Purdy going to take another year forward, I think, to develop before he gets paid. Brandon Ayuk staying there now. He's signed. So they have everyone back. Everyone's good to go. And the 49ers, I think, will once again probably be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Moving into the playoffs now, really quick to wrap up the video. My 7 teams in the AFC, and this is in order for, the seeding. Chiefs, Miami, Ravens, Jags, Bengals, Texans, Jets. So obviously the 4 conference, winners, Chiefs, Miami, Ravens, Jags, and then the Bengals, Texans, and Jets, I think all make the playoffs. The Jets get in with that 7 seed, and we'll see how much momentum they carry into the playoffs. The NFC, got the Lions with the 1 seed, because I think that they can beat the Bears and Vikings, a couple of times. And I think that their schedule allows them to have that 1 seed. It's tough to go back-to-back 1 seeds like the 49ers have been doing. But I have the 49ers with a 2 seed, Eagles 3 seed, Atlanta 4 seed, obviously, as the conference winners, and then Packers, Cowboys, Rams as they wrap up that the 5, 6, and 7 for the NFC spots. And then I'm not going to go through the playoff bracket really, but the Super Bowl, I have the Bengals and the Lions. I think Joe Burrow takes, he takes his Bengals back to the Super Bowl. If Jamar Chase never signs and never plays, then I withdraw this. I ask for permission to redo my AFC prediction, and I'm going to choose Lamar Jackson's not winning the playoffs, so screw it. The Chiefs make it back, and I have them playing the Lions as you can see, I think the Lions are going to take another step forward as the 1 seed with the NFC Championship game in Detroit at Ford Stadium, whatever it is. Up there, it's rocking. I don't know who they're going to play. They might be playing the 49ers or maybe the Rams, like I'm saying. Sneaky team there. The Packers also could take a jump, but I've got the Bengals and Lions, and if everything goes to plan with the Bengals, I have them winning the Super Bowl because the Lions, I cannot have them winning a Super Bowl because that would be their first time in the Super Bowl, and that's a lot of nerves. And I think Jared Goff, he's already lost the Super Bowl, I think. So I don't know if he can win a Super Bowl. And Dan Campbell, I think, would do too much, like he kind of did in the NFC Championship game last year, to kind of blow it. And the Bengals have been there more recently, and Joe Burrow doesn't really lose on the big stage because he kind of got screwed over in the last Super Bowl versus the Rams. But anyway, that is my predictions, AFC, NFC, and the playoffs, all the way through to the Super Bowl. So let me know what you think. NFL is back. Let's go.